I have Jaguar on my fingers and hands because I decided to not follow the directions. Hey, what's up guys, it's Annie, and today I'm going to be telling you my top 10 favorite book series of all time. Now, I'm going to be combining a lot of author series into one space on this list so it doesn't take up too much room. For number 10, we have The Illuminae series by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. This book is about a boy and a girl whose home planet is attacked by a large corporation, so they have to flee the planet and avoid being killed by the company who needs to erase all traces of the attack. This book is told through a series of different text messages and documents, and it has some really cool perspectives, like one of the spaceships AI, and I just really liked hearing from a different character than an actual human. This series is not complete yet. I believe there's one more book left, and I'm really excited for it. Number 9 on this list is P.S. I Still Love You series by Jenny Han. Now this is Always and Forever Lara Jean, because I audiobooked the first one. Now this series is about a girl named Lara Jean, and she writes love letters to all the boys she's ever liked before. And one day, those letters get sent out, and then she has to deal with the consequences of that. Now I flew through this series, it was really funny, a lot of cute moments, and I overall highly recommend you read it. Number 8 on this list is Twilight by Stephenie Meyer. Now for some reason, if you don't know what this series is about, it's about this girl named Bella who moves to a small town in Washington named Forks with her dad. And she meets this boy named Edward Cullen, and she starts to fall in love with him. But it turns out he's a vampire. Spoiler. I read this series about 2 years ago, and although it's a bit cringy at times, it's still one of my favorites. Number 7 on this list is The School for Good and Evil series by Soman Shinani. This series is about two girls, one named Sophie and one named Agatha. Now Sophie is your typical good girl, does a lot of good deeds, a very princess type. And Agatha lives in a graveyard with her mom. She has this creepy cat named Reaper. Everyone considers her like a witch. Now Sophie has always wanted to go to the School for Good because she wants to be a princess in a storybook. But Agatha doesn't believe in either school, and she just wants Sophie to stop obsessing over it. But when both of them get kidnapped and they're put in what they think is the wrong school, some interesting things happen. I read this series around 2 months ago. I got this book at Yale West in April. Unfortunately, I did not get it signed. I wish I did. One of the main reasons I really like this book is because of the author's YouTube channel. It's called Ever Never TV. He does it with 2 of his friends, and they just talk about all things about the series, and it's really, really cool. I think more authors should do that. Now we're getting to the really good stuff. Number 6 on this list is The Luna Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. Now this is the first book in the series. It's Cinder. This series is a retelling of Cinderella, Red Riding Hood, Rapunzel, and Snow White. It's about this girl named Cinder who's a cyborg. She lives with her evil stepmother and her 2 sisters, and she's a mechanic, and so she makes most of the money for the family, but they still don't appreciate her because she's a cyborg. But one day she meets Kai, who's the prince of New Beijing, and he has her fix one of his androids, and while she's fixing his robot, they get more of a connection, and things escalate from there. There's a lot more to this series, but I can't tell you because of spoilers. Number 5 on this list is The Daughter of Smoke and Bone series by Laini Taylor. Now this is actually the second book in the series, Days of Blood and Starlight, because I read these on my iPad, and so I only have a physical copy of this one. Now this series is about a girl named Karu who doesn't have any parents. She's never had any parents, but she does have a necklace with wishes on it. She lives with this creature named Brimstone, who is a mix of a bunch of different animals, and he collects teeth and has Karu get a lot of them for him. One day, the door to Brimstone's lair has a burning handprint on it. Now there's not much more I can tell you about this series except for there's angels and there's demons and a war. This story is written in such a way that things don't really make sense in the beginning, but then when you reach the end of a book, things just start to connect, and the writing is really whimsical and poetic. Now here are some of my ultimate favorites, and I had a really hard time deciding their spots. Number 4 on this list is A Court of Thorns and Roses and The Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. Now the reason I have this book instead of Throne of Glass is because this one's a hardcover and I only have the paperback with Throne of Glass. Now the Court of Thorns and Roses series is about a girl named Farah who goes into the forest to kill a deer but ends up killing a wolf instead, who turns out to not be a wolf. And later she gets kidnapped by this crazy beast thing who takes her to the Feylands so she can repay what she did to the wolf. The Throne of Glass series is about this girl named Selena Sardathian who's an assassin, but she gets caught and taken into slavery. And this book starts when she's taken out of slavery by the prince named Dorian to compete in this competition that the king is holding to find his new assassin. Now that's only the first book, but the series just escalates completely from there, and it's fantastic. Now these books are kind of more mature, so I don't recommend reading them if you don't think you're ready for something more on the adult side of young adult, but if you do think they're really interesting, read it. Number 3 on this list is the Percy Jackson series, or anything Rick Riordan writes. I have the Sword of Summer here because I don't own a copy of Percy Jackson because I read it in 2nd grade. The Percy Jackson series is about this boy named Percy who does not know he's a demigod, and his mom gets kidnapped by Hades and he's trying to find her. But at the same time, Zeus and Poseidon are about to go to war with each other because Zeus thinks Poseidon or one of his children stole his lightning bolt and he wants it back. Now, I've been keeping up with Rick Riordan's books for almost 9 years now, and I've almost read all of them except the King Chronicles and the Dark Prophecy, which is the 2nd book in his Trials of Apollo series, and they are fantastic. So even though they're technically middle grade series, anyone can read them and relate to the characters. Number 2 might be a bit controversial, but it's almost tied with my number 1. For this spot, I have Harry Potter by J.K. Rowling. Now, if you don't know what this series is about, or you haven't read it, what are you doing? For people who don't know, and they've been living under a rock for the past couple decades, I'll explain it to you. It's about this boy named Harry Potter who lives with his aunt, uncle, and cousin who abuse him. They make him sleep in the cupboard under the stairs. Harry has no friends and is always getting beat up by his cousin Dudley. But one day, right before his 11th birthday, Harry gets a letter from Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry asking him to come to his first year there, but his family does not want him to go. Now obviously there's a lot more to this series that you've probably heard about, and if you haven't read it, you really should. My number 1 spot on this list is any book by Cassandra Clare. Now I personally like The Mortal Instruments a little bit more than The Infernal Devices just because it's longer and you have more time to connect with the characters, although they're both amazing. So that's why I have this book out. Now the Mortal Instruments series is about this girl named Clary whose mom is kidnapped by demons and she has to get the help from these shadow hunters who hunt demons to find her mom. Her best friend Simon Lewis gets dragged along for the ride because he's always with Clary, and one of the shadow hunters named Jace starts getting feelings for Clary, and she starts getting feelings for him, but then a bunch of stuff happens. You'll have to read it to understand. Now the Infernal Devices series, which starts with the first book, Clockwork Angel, is the prequel to the Mortal Instruments series, and it takes place in the 1800s in London. And it's about this girl named Tessa who's moving to London to be with her brother Nate because her aunt just died who she was living with. But when she gets to London, she gets kidnapped by these 2 people called the Black Sisters. But then she's rescued by these 2 shadow hunters named Will and Jem, and she's trying to find Nate. Cassandra Clare is so good at writing series, and I cannot recommend enough that you read all of her books, because she just happens to be my favorite author. Thank you so much guys for watching this video. Hopefully I'll come out with more soon, and I'll see you next time. Bye!